On this Gun Talk Hunt, we're talking to Jordan Egli of Steiner Optics and about optics and a questionable time crossing the border into Canada. All that right here.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome all you Gun Talk hunters out there. Hope you're having a great day today. This Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by Ruger. Find everything you need at Ruger.com and Range Ready Studios. If you haven't heard, we've got a training range down here in Louisiana. You can come see the Gun Talk offices and train at Range Ready Studios. Today with me, longtime friend, my gosh, and industry professional. That's so weird to say, because I still kind of know you as an intern.
We've come a long way, KJ.
we have come a long way. My good buddy, Jordan Egli, he is with Burris Optics. And how did you end up at Burris?
Man, that's a long story. But, I mean, originally it was from Blue Heron. So we had Burris Optics as a client for, gosh, a long time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, COVID happened and the world went crazy. And
I mean, that's speaking it lightly.
Yeah, super lightly. But for me personally, that meant 4 moves in 18 months and jumping out of the industry, trying something new, which was a really good experience for me. I consider it my trial by fire, my master's degree of hard knocks. But
I don't know. It's even too hard to explain to all the Gun Talk folks out there about what you did at that job. Let's just say it was for a very wealthy Texan.
It was for a very good cause too.
Yes,
so,
it was a nonprofit organization kind of.
Right.
So,
but I always joked that, you know, I loved Burris Optics, and if they ever offered me an opportunity to work for them, that I would jump on it in a heartbeat. And I get down to Texas, and we're there for 11 months, and Burris calls, and we couldn't get to Colorado fast enough. So,
well, yeah, it's Colorado. Like, come on.
It's Colorado.
And, like, how many opportunities have opened their doors for you to go hunt in Colorado now?
Right. Yeah, the Rocky Mountains are our backyard, and we like to say it's where the high plains meet the front range.
Yeah.
That's where we call home. And, man, to have an opportunity to work at a company like Burris Optics with such a rich heritage and legacy of making awesome things, it's a blessing for me. It's a cool opportunity, and we just try our hardest every day.
Well, y'all are putting out some great stuff. I got to hunt with Burris Optics in Alaska this year, or last year, I guess now. Man, I need to get out another trip.
Time's flying, man.
Hey, if anybody is out there and they're interested in an Alaskan blacktail hunt, I have an in for you. So reach out to me, kj@guntalk.com, because I really want to go back, and I would much rather go with friends. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, dude, that sounds like a good time, let's go.
Sounds like an invite, like on camera.
It is 100%.
I'm your friend, right?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
All right. Let's do it.
Man, so that hunt was very interesting. And what was interesting about using the Burris Veracity pH, I'll let you explain that. But what was cool about it was I signed up for a long range course before attending the hunt, and gave me an opportunity to really run through the Veracity pH, get it dialed in way before. Like, I had so many rounds through that, like 270 and the Veracity pH, that I was like really super dialed in.
I think you were one of the first few people that really got to run it through its paces.
And like the way it links up with the app and just the heads up display that you get in your field of view makes it so easy, because when you're adjusting on whitetail, and I was shooting on blacktail, but any animal out there, there's movement. There is a relative amount of movement between adjusting your scope and the break of the shot. And to have a heads up display that will tell you, like, okay, you're at 170 yards. Okay, now you're at 175. And you don't have to take your eyes off the animal, that's huge.
It's huge. It's a game changer.
And so was that the whole idea behind, the heads-up display and linking up with the turret and then linking up with the phone? Like, because that's the like wave of the future right now.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I might take a step back and look at a bigger picture and kind of go through the history of Burris a little bit. So, I mean, we've been around for over 50 years, and a lot of guys know us for scopes like our full field line. I mean, it's just tried and true. It's bulletproof. It's been around for ages. But in the background of these tried and true scopes, Burris has always been about ballistics. We had a scope called the arc scope back in the day where it's kind of hard to explain, but you could adjust the subtensions of the reticle depending on your magnification, depending on your cartridge.
Okay.
I mean, we invented the ballistic drop reticle. And then we had this little scope come out about 10 years ago called the Eliminator.
That's the big one. And that's how I really got to know Burris, was by the Eliminator. And that was like cutting edge stuff. And I always kind of thought like, well, everybody knows the Eliminator, but you were telling me earlier today, like, not as many people know about the Eliminator as you would think.
No, and hopefully I can change that. That's
well,
my goal.
With a Veracity PH, you're going to definitely change some minds to look into Burris. And I think that's the whole goal, right?
So we've had this just DNA of being a ballistics driven company over the years with things like the Eliminator and then our Oracle bow sight series, where we're bringing that range finding technology and the ballistic drop compensation reticles into the picture. This was the next natural step for us is taking that ballistics knowledge, putting it into a mobile application,
right?
And kind of going almost backwards. There are some folks out there that still wanted that precision of being able to manually dial your elevation turret, and to offer a customizable solution for basically any cartridge, any round out there. At your fingertips, separates us. It's a game changer. And like you said, you got to use it in Alaska. For those who can't see through the scope right now, there is a heads up display in the unit that shows your dialed elevation turret position. And we take the math out of the equation. So instead of dialing to say 15 MOA, you're dialed to 575 yards or whatever your specific cartridge is. And in the moment of a shot where you don't want to make a bad shot, make a bad call, it boosts your confidence on making an ethical shot.
Right. Well, and if you any like hunting situations, I've got a lot of examples, but this really comes into play when a deer pops out, when an elk pops out, when a bear pops out. Like, let's just say bear, because bear seasons are going to start popping up and they're going to start being open. I know there's a lot of guys out there excited about it. Man, I need to go back and kill another bear.
Yeah, me too.
I know, right? We all need to get out there, but unknown distances. When he pops out and you're able to go with your rangefinder, okay, I've got it, and then you immediately dial to it. You don't have to do math in your head and go, okay, or check your phone or take your eyes off the target. I mean, because it's there. And it works out even better if you've got a buddy who's range finding for you, which highly recommend hunting in teams. Team hunting is awesome, and I think you're more efficient that way. But you can call, one buddy calls range, okay, that deer is at 425. All right, wind's good, make your wind calls, and then all it is you dial up that scope and you see it in your heads up display.
Right.
And where also I found it very useful is if you know your ranges, so that deer's at 425 and you're going from your spotter or your binoculars and you have the idea of where the deer is, you can start with your magnification out and then you can zoom in and then dial.
Right. So moving to Colorado, it's totally changed the game for me. I mean we're Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we're
guys.
Flatlanders.
So, taking a shot past 200 yards kind of just didn't seem like something you would do in a normal hunting situation. Out west, it's totally different. And the miles that you put in, the effort that you put in, the point systems that you have to play, you don't want to leave that split second moment to chance. You don't want to have bad dope. You don't want to have a bad wind call. You don't want to, make a mental error or mistake. So, I mean, we train out there to 1,000 yards. Train at 1,000, shoot at 400. You don't want to wound an animal, whether it's because you don't have enough foot-pounds of energy in your round, but train far.
Hold on a second. You're dropping too much sense. You're being too logical here. Okay, I just want to like back up like 20 seconds. So back it up a second. And he said, we shoot out to 1,000. We train out to 1,000. Then we take our shots at 400. Like that is too much common sense because you're leaving nothing to chance.
Right.
Just like the optic. It's like, but I think more people are like, well, I can shoot out to 1,000, so I'm going to just shoot out to 1,000. Well, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, I think, as hunters, it's our responsibility to do as much as we can to ensure that the shot that we do take is going to be the only shot that we have to take.
Yeah.
So to each their own. I mean, you got to know your own abilities. I'm not going to tell somebody not to take a shot that might be further than that they can do, but don't go out there without practice, without practicing and not knowing what you're doing. So, I mean, for me, 400 yards that's a long poke for me, being from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's,
or for someone who doesn't shoot that
sure
distance all the time.
100%. And so this particular optic, I mean, practicing at 1,000 is much more manageable. You can create your bullet curve that will go all the way out there to as far as your round will take. Now, you are limited. It is a one rotation turn around 33 MOA, give or take a little bit.
But how many?
Far enough for hunting. Far enough for hunting.
I mean, that's about all you need. It's funny because I think about all you got to think in long distance shooting. You got to think about all the variables that the animal has in its control. Like it might be relaxed at that moment, and then it takes a step in between your final breath and the press of the trigger. Like that can create, I mean, you could hit the animal far back, you can miss completely, make a bad shot. So there's factors that the animal has in its quiver that maybe we shouldn't be taking shots at. And that's where it gets to me. Because, man, there are people out there that can ring steel at 1,600 yards, at 2,400 yards, all day long. The steel is not moving.
Right.
It's not moving.
Right.
Like, it's not breathing.
No. A common scenario, out west is you might have two patches of trees, and you can tell that there's an animal walking, say, left to right. And when he pops out, you've only got seconds to make a judgment call on if it's the animal you want to take, and getting that range and dialing to the appropriate distance in that time period and praying that animal gives you the shot opportunity. It happens quick. So dial it, and then it happens quick.
But two, one of the problems that we were running into quite frequently is people not willing to eat a tag. They don't want to eat a tag, so they will take a questionable shot, even though they know, like, I probably shouldn't take this shot, but they don't want to, like, this might be my only opportunity. And I think that drives most people to want to take those shots when they just don't need to.
Right.
It just, this is, okay, if you've been listening to this Gun Talk Hunt podcast long enough, you know my thoughts on long-range hunting. Man, if you shoot all the time, like, and you can knock those distances out and the animal is completely still, I don't have an issue, but I wouldn't do it.
It's math.
I wouldn't do it.
To me, it's math. If the math makes sense, and I mean, you got to factor in your error into that math.
Yeah.
Do it.
On everything.
But that doesn't mean push it. Don't find your limits in a hunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Don't try and push the bar when you're in a hunt.
That would drive me. I'm getting all like worked up already, like about it. Like it's a problem. Like it's a problem because I hear stories from game wardens, and I hear stories that of around the game wardens that they're always finding dead heads. They're always finding, and these aren't like wolf kills or bear kills or anything, or mountain lions. These are like bad shots, like, and people are not finding them. Like they're increasing more and more, but like in a state like Colorado, we have more and more out-of-state hunters putting in and applying, and that's where the point creep comes into play. And then you've got more people flooding the woods, and so it gets dicey out there.
Right. So eliminating as many factors as possible to making a bad shot is our goal. we do as much as we can with our eliminator and our veracity pH to make sure that the variables are figured out. And now it's up to you to be calm and to pull the trigger smooth and make a good shot and know your wins, things like that. Something else that's kind of cool about this technology is we're seeing a lot more straight wall cartridges these days.
I know, right? That new, what is it? The 360 buck hammer.
Yeah,
that's
that Remington buck hammer.
Yes. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, I haven't shot that one yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Really? Well, how about after this we step out back and let's take care of that.
Let's do it. But now you're getting ballistic curves that are east of the Mississippi that kind of model ballistic curves of some of these long range cartridges. So the bullet drop on a straight wall cartridge at 250 yards is fairly dramatic.
Yes.
And you can miss an animal if you don't know how to hold over properly.
Do you think people will become too reliant upon like a veracity pH? Like so let's say they don't know the math and they don't understand like ballistics and stuff like that. And do you at all worry about someone coming in and strapping one of these on and go, I'm good. It goes up to 300. I'm going 300. Do you ever worry about that? Because that to me would be the biggest fear.
I mean, we can't control how people use it. But I'll go back to what I said. Train far and then hunt smart. But it's not like you put the scope on your gun and then poof, it just works.
Right.
You still have to put in your ballistic data into the mobile application to program the scope. And through that process, you're intuitively learning, oh, okay, well, these different variables affect how my bullet flies. And when you complete that process, you not only get a bullet profile to push to the scope, but you get a reticle map, you get a dope card, you get all of these other resources that are kind of educating you of the process of what's happening to that bullet as it leaves the gun.
Well, and your energy is going down as you get into the end of that bullet cycle, which you definitely have got to pay attention to. We're going to jump in here with a break, but we're going to tease it going forward because Jordan and I were almost outlaws from the Canadian Mounties for a little bit, and I'm going to get into that story on the other side of this break from our sponsors. All right, we'd like to thank Range Ready Studios for sponsoring this Gun Talk Hunt. If you need training, you need Range Ready Studios, rangereadystudios.com, your leader in firearms training, whether it's long guns, ladies classes, first-person defender experience, semi-auto operator pistol courses. We've got it all, and it's mostly all taught by Mr. Chris Sereno. I think you guys are going to like what you hear from him. I've taken a long gun class and absolutely loved it, learned a lot. You'd be surprised what you don't realize you don't know. So rangereadystudios.com. And Ruger, the Ruger SFAR is one of my all-time favorites. It is available in 6.5 Creedmoor, under 7 pounds. Okay, so it was like 6.7 pounds or something like that, all in a small small frame auto-loading rifle is what SFAR stands for, but it is in an AR-10 package, very lightweight. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to load this thing up, you're going to want to take it out at night, or heck, take it out plinking on the range, or take it on your next whitetail hunt. You can find out more about the Ruger SFAR in 6.5 Creedmoor at Ruger.com. All right, we're back, Gun Talk Hunters. I'm talking with Jordan Egli of Burris Optics, and we were talking about the veracity pH, and this was way before he was at Burris. This was back in our PR marketing days at Blue Heron Communications, and we decided we would drive up to Canada to my uncle's place, and we'd go hunt. You were filming for me, so you actually didn't get to hunt. Which
I was just there to learn, and
I learn what not to do.
When you're in college and somebody says, "Hey, let's drive 36 hours straight to Canada, are you in?" You don't think about it. You just say, "I'm in."
Yeah, you're like, I'm game. Like, let's go. Which I couldn't believe he did it. He was like, "Wait, I get to go to Canada?" I was like, "Yes, I will pay the gas to get up there."
Meanwhile, he's like, and I'm going to sleep, and he's going to drive. Yeah. It's going to be great.
No, I thought we traded off pretty well. But we had a full truck going up there, And we drove 24 hours straight. We did not stop. And we drove up kind of through the like almost Minnesota area, like up through North Dakota.
North Dakota. Yeah. Do you remember what we saw in Minot? This is a trip
Minot. Ooh, what did we see in man? That trip was a blur to me. What did we see?
Yeah, I think I remember I dozed off for like 30 minutes. I wake up and outside the window is the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Oh yeah, that's at the truck stop. Yes,
middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. We see. Yeah, I do remember that now. It's so funny the stuff that comes back to you after like taking a trip like that. But no, what was funny about it was we were missing a storm, so it was a little bit longer than what we would have going through the Denver, and going up through Montana, which I would have loved to have seen that in the light. Like I would have loved to have driven through Montana in the daylight. Instead, it was dark 30 when we drove. But so we get to the Canadian border. We finally made it, and Jordan and I are like, I have all the paperwork. Like I've got a stack of paperwork and I've got everything. And so we pull in and they look us up and down like we're pieces of meat. And
somebody liked to fish in Mexico a lot.
Yes, that was at the time when I was going to Mexico. Like, I don't know, I was going 6 to 8 times a year, which does not look good. If those are your only stamps in your passport are to Sinaloa, Mexico, like that's a bad deal. That's funny because when I thought about it, we were sitting there and they go, yes, pull into the bay right over there. And we're like, okay. Like, we've never done this before. I've never driven with fire. And before going, like, I spent like a full day cleaning out the truck. No shell casings, like nothing. The truck was clean, like very clean. So the only ammo that we had in the truck was to the firearms that we were taking, which we took.
I mean, we were to the book and then some.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we were 100%. We had our paperwork in order. Like I even had you verify it. Like, hey, look at the serial numbers on the guns. Make sure everything works. Like we're totally legal. And we sat there, and then all of a sudden, like we're sitting here, and the truck is right in front of us, and then 2 Mounties jump up in my truck and start pulling stuff out.
Like everything.
And I've packed this truck like precisely, like packed it precisely. And I mean, they're pulling everything out. And then they go, is this your computer? And I was like, yes, that's my computer. We need your password.
Yeah. They put us at 2 different tables.
Yes.
Like looked at our computers, got on our phones.
Yeah. And we were like, I have nothing to hide here.
And they're like, sir, why do you want to go to Canada with this gentleman? To learn about the outdoors and to take pictures. Why would you want to learn about the outdoors in Canada?
Because it's a beautiful country. Like it really is. But you are making it less desirable, sir.
Right.
But that was what was funny about it, is because like an hour goes by, they're still going through the truck. 2 hours go by, still looking through the truck.
24 hours of driving straight.
Yes.
We're like the border. We're there.
Yeah. Home free. But no. They were not done with us. So they're going through fronts. It's like they pulled us apart and they were like, in what capacity is Jordan on this hunt with you? I was like, he's just here to learn. He's here to take photos. Are you using this for commercial business? No, I'm not. I'm going up to see my uncle. Who is your uncle? Like, I mean, it was that detailed.
It was pretty wild.
It was nuts. But you got to see the whole process on what they do when they think they've got bad guys and they just got 2 jamokes. We'll use a Gary word. Jamokes from Oklahoma.
You know, I've recently been back to Canada. I got to go.
Did they let you in?
Over a year. It's been a year now. Wow. And
they let you in?
We had at least, I think it was 7 rifles and 7 shotguns. And we got through the border in like 30 minutes.
See, I have had the same thing. I don't know what the hang up was. I don't know if I guess we look a certain way. I don't know.
At least one of us.
Yeah. The flat brim probably does not do me any favors on the road. But what was great about it was, man, once we got through, it was almost like we were home free. And then we pulled over and we just camped out for the night in like some little camp. And we like saw beaver in the creek. And I mean, it was just kind of surreal because we were out fast.
Yeah, we decided to watch The Edge for some reason. And then like the volume on the computer cut out and there's still wolves howling in the background.
Yes. So that's kind of my thing. Like if I'm going to Alaska or if I'm going to Canada, one of the movies that I watch, I don't know why, but it's The Edge with, what is that? Sir Anthony Hopkins is in that, and Alex Baldwin.
No, that's the bear movie. This one's
that is The Edge. Yeah.
I thought this was the wolf one.
Oh no, you're talking about, I do watch that one too. You're talking about, what's the one with Liam Neeson in it? It's
I thought that was The Edge. I don't know anymore.
No, The Edge. I watch The Edge all the time. Like Alaska, Canada, I watch The Edge, and I can't think about it. I don't know what's the movie called.
Anyways, it's about animals eating people. It's a great movie.
He's up in Alaska. He's up in the Northern Territories. And he's I'm going to look at this, a wolf. That's all it takes. And I know it's going to be like the gray.
The gray. What it is.
That's it.
Those 2-word movies, The Edge, The Gray.
Dude, they're both great movies.
Right.
But definitely not something I would want to be. I would not want to be in the frozen tundra getting chased by wolves. But no, that was a great trip. It taught me a lot about just persistence and like paying off in your hunt. And man, and I think I want to say we used a 300 Win Mag and a 270.
It taught me the healthy fear of bears. That's what it taught me.
Yes.
It's a target-rich environment up there.
He saw so many bears. I was like, look, man, there's a lot of bears up here.
We're not talking like bears over bait from a tree. We're just like talking about bears popping out while walking through fields.
And that's how to best hunt them. I mean, it really was. And just moving through slowly, taking your time, hunting. I mean, that's what it is.
It was great. I learned so much on that trip. I mean, just a lifetime's worth of knowledge wrapped up in a week, and
like 10 days.
Go back in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. I need to make it back up there. They've got a lot of improvements to the properties. And
do you remember what happened when we came home?
Yeah, they like ushered us right through. They almost gave us other guns.
Yeah, the guy looked out the window. He's like, "Man, it looks like you guys had a good trip." I'm like, yeah, we did. We got some guns. Oh, don't worry, this is America. Welcome home.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but it was just about.
Well, what was funny is because again, if you travel across country, this is just a heads up for everybody. If you travel outside the United States and the friendly confines of your home territory, have your paperwork in order. Anything can go wrong, will go wrong. Just go in with that mindset because on the way back, had all my paperwork, had the paperwork for, the 2 bears I shot and the elk, and had it all squared away. And give it to the guy like, hey, you need to check this. Like, I understand that I need your signature here so I can have when I drop it off to the taxidermist, you need to sign here. Oh, yeah. He signs, and I go, and I start going back, and I go, well, hey, did you get this bear over here? Like, because he had forgotten to check one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, I've got 2 bears here. You need to check both of them. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. Like, and it was like, seriously, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning when we pulled through there, which is probably the best thing to do.
Know your dope when you're hunting at extended distances, and know your paperwork when you're crossing the border.
Yes, 100%.
110%.
Yeah. Why? Did you have an experience when?
No, it's just like.
Well, it's nerve-wracking.
Well, after you get interrogated for 2 hours by the Canadian Mounties, it's like every time you cross a border, you think this is going to be the next interrogation.
Well, what's funny about that is not funny about it, but there's been multiple instances where, like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm telling this right. There's a guy that I know that went to Mexico. Forgot he somehow made it onto a plane with I want to say it was a loaded handgun. Didn't realize it was in there. To Mexico.
Is he still there?
He got out. He got it. Luckily, he had great connections. But I mean, go through your luggage, make sure you're clean. But there was another guy who was scheduled to not stop in Mexico. His plane diverted. landed in Mexico. So he was heading to like Argentina, landed in Mexico, and got off the plane. They said, get off the plane. You have to go back through customs, get your stuff. Don't do that. Don't accept. Like if this happens, you do not accept, do not get your guns. Do not do it. Because he went over, he picked up his guns, and he went to jail. Because now he didn't have any of the paperwork that you needed for that country. Talk about, and he was in a Mexican prison for months. Months.
That's nerve-wracking.
Dude, heck yeah, it is. It like scares me to death. That's why, like, okay, what possible stops could I have? Do I need that paperwork?
Yeah, am I going through New York? Wait, whoops.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Like, oh, I better not go to California. Like, right. I'd be in trouble. So, but yeah. Well, what else has Burris got going?
Man, I think the future is pretty exciting for Burris. I really do. I mean, we're really stepping into this technology side of things with, you know, not just the Veracity pH, but a full line of thermal optics.
Okay, I wasn't going to bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up because then I can talk about it. But a full line of thermals.
Yeah, clip-on, handheld, dedicated rifle scope. More to come there in the future. I don't think we're going to slow down with this type of technology in our products either. Like I said, look out for Burris. It's got some really cool things on the horizon. Yeah,
go give them a look. Where can they find out more?
You can go to our website, burrisoptics.com. Follow us on all the social media channels. Check out our YouTube. We're everywhere.
You're doing good, man. Keep it up. Dude, I've known him since he was an intern, and now he's got a big boy job. So watch out for Burris Optics. That's Jordan Egli. I'm KJ. And as always, Gun Talk Hunters, keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.
To see all of Gun Talk's content, go to guntalk.com, guntalktv.com, or sign up for the Gun Talk newsletter.